Hey guys, I'm the Philosopher, and tonight we'll be talking about all the things that happened at E3, or at least the things that mattered to us. But first, we have the usual suspects, but I also have a special guest here, one of my good friends. It's Chris Sanders, who is the, I would say, creative director of Ascension X. He's the person in charge of it. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, so far I'm doing pretty good. And yourself?
I'm doing great. And he does have an Indiegogo that just recently launched, and I just wanted to have him on the show to talk about his game, help promote it. I'm a fan of it so far. It's definitely come a long way since I saw it about 2 years ago. But how long have you been working on this game now?
Um, well, for the most part, we've been in development for about 2 years, but we started designing before then.
Okay.
We started designing about 3 years ago, as far as like concept sketches, 3D modeling, and playing around with the idea. But it's something I've wanted to do for a long time.
Okay. And
But
can you tell me what, or go ahead?
actually, it's a pretty funny story. When I was like 11, I was playing Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and for some reason I thought it was like completely like ripped off. 'Cause I remember playing like Sub Zero, then I played again as Scorpion. I was like, wait a minute, are these the same exact moves? And I thought about, it, I was like, wait a minute, are these the same character? So I like took the disc out and tried to call the game company on the back. It was like, you guys should hire me. And the girl laughed at me. Was like, you know what? Why don't you build your own game and then maybe kids will call you in and play it. So it was actually something I wanted to do since I was like younger. I just never got around to doing it until recently.
That's cool. So pretty much, I guess Acclaim at the time told you to make your own game, essentially.
What was the
Or
yeah, it was
Midway,
Acclaim,
Midway.
but it was no the numbers from Acclaim because at the time Acclaim was doing all their packaging. They were handling
Mm.
all their packaging and distribution. So I tried to get into their secretary. I didn't even know like what number we were trying to call. We just
Right.
like got the house phone and called long distance.
So tell us a little bit about your game.
Okay, well, as you can see from the thing, Ascension X, it's a 2.5D fighting game, as in 3D characters on a 2D fighting plane, and we have pretty much all the standard mechanics from Mortal Kombat Street Fighter with like the core mechanics. But what kind of set us apart, we were kind of like playing around with an ascension system, where like as you're fighting, your character can like evolve in kind of like the heat of battle. But
Hmm.
we have three different ways. Like if you look at one of our concept arts, we have a character called Lycan, who's more of a rush down, uses pretty much some heavy hits, gets in quick. But as he like charges his meter, he transforms pretty much into a werewolf, hence the name Lycan, and gets a few extra rush down attacks. So like the way we're doing it is kind of like almost like a variation from Mortal Kombat, but you can like change them as you're playing.
Okay, that's pretty
So
cool.
each character will start off with like normal attacks. As their meter builds, they can spin the meter to perform enhanced attacks, or they can save it and build it up and transform. I think the closest thing to the system we have right now is like an old fighting game most people don't remember called Bloody Roar.
Oh,
Oh, we
man.
know about that.
Yeah,
Too
so
bad Tyler's not on here.
that's kind of like how we're going for it, like with some of our characters, their transformations. But we kind of kept some of it original, like some of our characters more along the lines of transform their weapons, and some are more like along the lines of transform their bodies. So it makes for like a nice little variation. That's kind of the main thing that sets our game apart is our game in our gameplay. You
Hmm.
pretty much get your variations as you're playing,
Right.
and you can like see our heavy anime influences. Hence the transformations. We kind of tried to give it a transformation feel, and another aspect that makes it a little different. We added a second bar at the top, which we call Scion, and as you play, you start off with a half a bar, and you actually can hit a key and charge the bar, almost kind of like charging like your power. As you perform each special attack, it drains. So like you can't just like sit in like Street Fighter and spam like 100 Hadoukens. Because I was a big Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter player ever since number 2. But I think that was like one of the main things I didn't like about it. Sometimes you can like spam like 1,000 fireballs within the same match. So I think thought sometimes it made the gameplay a little stale. So with ours, we're trying to switch it up. So you can either save your energy and your character will hit harder. We have like a damage scaling system.
Hmm.
So your character can either hit harder or you can like spend it for your special attacks. But every now and then you have to have a break in them to charge your power back up. So that's
Right.
kind of we kind of put like an anti-spamming system in there to make the gameplay vary a little bit, but we'll be featuring all of the basic game modes. Story mode, which has a full campaign with a pretty nice story that we've been writing. We have the standard versus mode. We're working on our online multiplayer, and we're giving it a versus tag mode.
So like a 2-on-2?
Yes, 2-on-2.
Cool, cool. That's always good.
Yeah,
So,
I've kind of been missing it in recent fighting games.
I have a question. Hang on. I don't mean to interject, but I have a quick question.
Sure.
When it comes to the story mode,
Yes.
how in depth do you think it is?
Well,
that you're
actually,
making it?
so far we're actually making it pretty in depth, and I actually started a few test animations. What we wanted to do was give each character a small teaser, which is only going to be like 1 minute of them doing their ascension or a power up, and then we were doing like one collective story that's based on all 16 of our characters. What we'd like to have done was within about 20 minutes of cinematics and do a full-blown campaign similar to, I believe, Mortal Kombat 9. Now, whether how much of it we can actually do being an indie team remains to be seen, but that was more of our plan, something like a in-depth story told from a different point of views of our different characters. Because the story we wrote right now is pretty in-depth, and it goes from each one of the different characters. It's like we'll start off as one of our characters called Rocky, and like all of them interact with each other. So it should come out to be pretty entertaining. And we're going to cut it with cut scenes, boss battles, and as you fight through, you progress through the story mode. In our campaign mode, I mean.
Sounds so good so far. And so is it you doing the writing, or do you have anybody helping you out? Like, how much of the work? I'm good.
As of right now, as far as the writing, I'm actually having someone help me out with the writing.
Cool.
A good friend of mine, Jesse's been helping us with the writing. I pretty much gave him the basic story that I wanted, and he's been filling in the blanks. But he's been coming with some great work for me.
All right, that's awesome. Do you have a due date for how long, or for when this game will come out?
Yes, we were hoping to have the well, we have a playable demo now, but we're going to be releasing it to the public within the next 3 months with 3 playable characters, but it'll be minus the story mode. We'll have 3 playable characters, versus mode, and hopefully online multiplayer will be set up. But at the moment, that's going to be our next biggest thing to tackle, will be the online multiplayer.
Okay.
My developer tells me he have a few experience with it, so he's giving me 2 more months till we have online multiplayer.
Okay,
And that's where we're going to be releasing the.
So I think I know the developer, and I'm hoping. I don't want to make any assumptions, but do you know what platform you're going to be using for your multiplayer?
Not off the top of my head, but he sent me a document with the information that he found.
Okay.
Because at the moment, obviously, I have no idea personally how I would go about setting it up. I've done some coding as far as like user interface design, but setting up online multiplayer is a little out of my league, which is why I was glad he was able to take over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if it's Brian, he does definitely do good work, and I'm hoping it's going to be GGPO. I'll have to get some information from him. It is GGPO?
Yeah.
Okay, that by far is the best idea, I think. Every fighting game, and if you haven't seen the talk by Mike Z, who made Skullgirls, you definitely need to check out that talk. He did like a 1 hour or half an hour lecture on how to make a fighting game. Very, very good for anyone.
Actually, I did check that.
Awesome.
Majority of it.
Yeah, anyone who's into fighting games in the chat or watching on YouTube, definitely watch that talk. He makes a very good point. I think the guy himself is a little egotistical, but you can't deny he does very, very good work.
Yes, Skullgirls was great.
Yeah. I suck at the game, but it's very good. So that's good if you can get GGPO working for your game. That definitely boosts. I already have confidence in your game, but that boosts it even more. So that's a good sign. What are your goals for the Indiegogo?
Okay, as of right now, for the most part, I've pretty much been self-funding everything,
Mm-hmm.
and me and Brian's been doing the bulk of the work, but I've been bringing in contracts as we go.
Mm-hmm.
We have quite a lot of assets done. We're just kind of like trying to polish it, get everything together, and test it.
Mm-hmm.
So we were thinking about, as of right now, we were trying to raise the initial $5,000 to pay for a few more animations. As I said, we have 2 more characters that need the animations put to them. So our initial goal was for 5,000 to finish this first demo to get into the public with the, like I said, 3 characters in multiplayer. After that, we have a few stretch goals. I'm having to look them up to be so I can be 100% accurate. Like if you look on our thing, we're wanted to once we make it to 25,000, we would be able to add our story mode and our tag team. And then one more down on the line, I cannot pronounce his name, but I'm pretty sure you guys are all familiar with Final Fantasy 12.
Mm-hmm.
I've been pretty much emailing every single voice actor from every one of my favorite animes, and I've had a few get back in touch with me. So we added that to our stretch goals, so we can pay for voice acting and add to our soundtrack. And the composer from Final Fantasy 12, Hitachi Sakamoto, has agreed to work with us for our opening track. So that was one of our bigger goals, which is why we were hoping our Kickstarter was successful.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Now, whether we can pull it off or not, but he's agreed to write our opening track. And speaking of, someone asked me before about our story mode. We have a script written for a 2-minute cinematic, more of a opening theme song. Have any of you were familiar with the original Soul Blade for PlayStation 1?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember their opening? I think it was not Heart of Sword, but it starts off with the song as the characters all go through their interactions and it pans throughout the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have a storyboard for something similar,
Mm-hmm.
and if we raise enough, he agreed to write the opening theme song so we can put our animations to it. It'd be a pretty nice Easter egg. It goes from starts from each one of the characters' perspective as they're all gathering to the event leading up into the game to his music. That's one of the main things personally that I wanted. And it would be 2 to 3 minutes of the highest quality animation we can possibly afford. I've slowly been buying in the motion capture equipment through IPsoft. And so pretty much we're adding extra goals to pay for more equipment and hire more contracts. But for the most part, the demo, I've pretty much been self-funding, and we should have within the next 3 months.
Awesome. Okay, and are there any other things you want the people to know about your game or about your Indiegogo campaign?
That's for the most part wraps it up. I think if anyone actually enjoys fighting games and actually wants something original, being kind of an indie, we're really not afraid to fail. So we don't mind trying mechanics. Worst case scenario, we lose a couple nights sleep or we lose a week and we can try again. We can actually play around and try to find things that make the funnest effect. It's not like there's millions of dollars on the line where somebody like Capcom might not be able to try certain things.
Yeah.
Because it's millions of dollars on the line. With us, we're actually trying to be as creative as possible. We realize we'll never achieve the polish of Skullgirls, Capcom. So with us, we're trying to leave our mark on an original gameplay.
And you never know. I mean, there's always going to be there could always be Ascension X2, or you can always update it. So,
and that's what we want to be remembered as. We want to be remembered as a fun game, something where people can see our passion and it'll come across.
Okay, so if people want to follow your progress of the game or check you out, where can they find you?
Facebook, Twitter, and we have our site up at the moment.
Okay, and I will post links.
Be within 2 days.
Okay.
It's up now, but our official launch will be in 2 days.
Okay. And the links will be in the description down below, so you guys can definitely check that out on YouTube. I will post it periodically during the live chat, just so you guys can check it out. So if you have any questions about it, just go ahead and shoot through the chat or leave a comment about it down below if you're watching on YouTube. But with that said, we're going to get into E3 and what we're looking forward to and what we're excited for. If you want to stick around, that's awesome. We will love to have you throughout the rest of the podcast. But
I'll
thank you
buy
for
it.
sharing my game.
Thank you. Thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
So, I guess is there anybody who wants to like just gush about their game right now or what they're looking forward to? Now is kind of your chance to just go at
I
it.
just wanna say, fuck Konami. That's my whole contribution for the podcast. Bye bye.
Did
Thank
you
you.
all see the picture that Norman Reedus posted on Instagram?
No.
It was a slightly photoshopped picture of Hideo Kojima drinking from a Konami teacup with tears photoshopped on it. He was drinking Konami tears. He posted this after the Sony press briefing when Hideo Kojima came out like a boss.
Yeah. When Hideo Kojima came out of the stairs, all I could think about was fuck Konami, fuck Konami, fuck Konami. Every step he was taking, like fuck Konami, fuck Konami, fuck Konami, fuck Konami. Yeah, man,
That was
that's great.
fuel.
Yeah, man.
Oh man. Yeah, so I'm excited for I don't know anything about this game, but it has Guillermo del Toro, Hideo Kojima, and Norman Reedus.
Actually, I haven't heard anything about Guillermo del Toro being attached, but we do have Kojima, we do have Norman Reedus, and the footage we see doesn't say as much about the story necessarily, but it's a fascinating visual. It's like it's like Kojima's had like all these narrative concepts and imagery stuck in his head that he's wanted to do something with but couldn't because Kojima had said in the past in interviews that like he wanted to take a break from Metal Gear and wanted to do something other than the Metal Gear the Metal Gear Solid games, and he kind of still kept doing the Metal Gear games. He got stuck with doing that by Konami, and they are good games certainly. But I could see like he used all these narrative concepts, plus combined with his own emotions from being kicked out of Konami, a company which he'd been with for basically the majority of his career, and having
all of his career, right? He started in Konami, didn't he?
Yes, he did for the entirety of his career. And which had all his creative babies attached to them. So, pardon my interruption. And it appears Antonio's rage has caused him to caused his connection to flake out for a second. And all his creative babies were tied up with that, and having that taken away, which is an image that we actually get in the trailer, which somebody commented is even if this isn't the actual game reflect the gameplay, it makes a perfect sort of proof of concept sort of short film embodying what Hideo Kojima's thoughts are for his pained departure from Konami and how things turned out there. That with Kojima now, the sky is basically the limit for what his next game is going to be, narratively, gameplay-wise. And Kojima is a person who certainly is willing to experiment with narrative, do really weird stuff, fourth wall breaking stuff, and explore interesting concepts narratively. And I think that this game is definitely going to get into some of that stuff. And I really hope that we get to see kind of more of this as further developments and gameplay trailers and stuff for Death Stranding come out.
Did you guys see a little bit of PT on the game? I mean, I don't have no doubts that he's pretty much applied everything that he learned from the PT project on this one as well.
Yeah.
I didn't see as much of PT in that, though. I did see a game which learned something from PT.
Yeah, Resident Evil 7.
Evil 7.
Yeah, I definitely.
Yeah.
Oh man, I streamed that game not too long ago because I wanted to play the demo. If you guys don't know, there's a Resident Evil 7 demo out now, so you guys can check it out on PS4. So download that if you're a big Resident Evil fan.
Also a lot like PT.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot like PT, Outlast sort of vibe to it. Now, there's a lot of people who are like on the fence or upset about it because it's first person. That's the main thing. The demo is first person. I can only but assume that the actual game's going to be first person as well. And I do want to say, while it doesn't feel like a Resident Evil game, it definitely was creepy. It definitely had great visuals. The sound was good. I definitely recommend playing it with headphones if you have that option, because I was definitely creeped out.
And with the eventual VR headset.
Boom. Yes.
That's gonna be great. You know what? It's. I think it's great because I think Capcom has been listening to the fans and saying, I mean, for the longest time, people are being, complaining about Resident Evil, saying Resident Evil is not scary anymore. It's just an action game now. And I think they're taking that to heart with this game. So that's great. I mean, that's great. Every change that they make, people are gonna bitch about it, about being first-person shooter, like a first-person view. Sorry, but just try it before you knock it, right?
Yeah.
I do agree, and I think with Sony wanting to do the VR push for the PlayStation 4, getting Resident Evil 7 as a immersive, scary horror game that gets in the fact that clues in with the fact that like the first few Resident Evil games through 4 were very atmospheric, immersive horror games in well-structured environments, and then just taking you that one step further, where instead of having part of the tension being related to fixed camera perspectives and that sort of thing, putting you in an immersive first-person perspective where your restrictions, where the tension of the unknown comes not from, oh, it's a fixed camera angle and it's screwing with your perception that way, but from a first-person perspective where you know what you're looking at and you know there's something that is behind you, and it gets that bit of your lizard brain. This could make for probably one of the best big budget in terms of development VR games.
Cool.
Yeah, and Resident Evil was one of the pioneers of survival horror, and I definitely feel like 4, 5, and 6 kind of veered away from that. While I did enjoy all 3 of those games in their own way, 4 definitely was still very scary because it was mainly at night and also single player. But they were more so action survival horror, and it feels like if you look at Outlast, if you look at Amnesia, Penumbra, all these other games, the survival horror genre for gaming has been dominated by first person. It's really hard to do, especially when the technology's finally caught up to the game. It's hard to do third person survival horror. At the beginning, that's what we had to use, but now that we have better graphics, better gameplay, better controllers, better technology, we can use first person to its fullest extent, especially with VR right around the corner. It's already here. We're going to first person, and Resident Evil looks like they're going to first person as well to get back into that survival horror. And in the demo, you felt very defenseless. You had no weapons whatsoever. I think they wanted to establish that early on. I mean, Resident Evil 1, if you played as Chris Redfield, you didn't even have a gun until a good, 20 to 30 minutes into the game. You only had a knife. So only if you played Jill Valentine did you have a firearm of some sort. And even
Chris
then,
got the gun first. Jill got... No, you're right. My bad.
Yeah. Yep.
I was like, wait, did I have that backward? No.
Yeah. So
are we
that's
talking
definitely really exciting.
4? Resident Evil 4?
1.
The original one. You had two different characters. Both 1 and 2 you had an option of which character you played as your primary narrative perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You guys are missing the biggest thing about this.
Uh-oh.
It's a PlayStation exclusive.
I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Come on, Yuri. You just wait until when we say who won E3, which we all know who.
We already know who won.
I mean, you guys want to take that out of the way already? I mean, it's fucking.
No, we'll wait. We'll leave everyone in suspense.
We'll wait. I mean, around suspense for what? For the obvious.
On that note, though, I will say PlayStation had a few games that caught my attention. I think Aaron made a good point, or a few people on here. God of War. I'm not a big God of War fan, but that showcase to me was very, very impressive. I don't know. It looked really good to me. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, I am not a big fan of the first God of War, of the original God of War series of games.
Mm-hmm.
The character action style I appreciate. I enjoy me some my Devil May Cries. The Devils may cry all they want, as far as I'm concerned. But the God of War games, there is always a certain degree of too self-serious. It's a little overly self-serious combined with a little too ass-hattery or too crass in terms of it. Kratos felt like felt way too Spawn. He felt way too 90s comics anti-hero kind of thing.
He was a douchebag.
Yeah, he's a total douchebag.
That's the point of the game.
Well, the problem is he doesn't have a character arc which has him which really has him transforming into I'm going to be less of a douchebag. But his character arc is he manages to find ways to be more and more mad, and starting off with just being mad at Ares, then becoming mad with all the Greek gods and killing them all. And
it's a game you want to play when you want to just latch out.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
No, the thing is the excessive self-seriousness combined with the attitude of the character kind of didn't work for me. And whereas as opposed to something like a Devil May Cry or a Bayonetta, where there was a kind of tongue-in-cheek, more playful attitude to this, where I can be more laid back and I'm going to go waste a bunch of demons and kick some ass and have fun with that without having this side bit with the character which makes things not work and makes it not as fun. With the new God of War game, we have, while it's not as big dynamic camera angle for the action scenes, the way it's set up now fits with the other way I like to play games. I'm just going to kick back and relax. Is I enjoy exploration of environments and experimentation and enjoying a world. And it looks like, from the way the game is structured and from the gameplay mechanics and messages we see all popping up on screen during Sony's press conference, that this game is going to be that. That this is going to be a game where it's as much of it's about kicking ass and taking names. In this case, in Scandinavia now, as opposed to in the Mediterranean, it's also a game about exploring a world and an environment and seeing interesting and amazing things.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but I really liked the narrative of this one, where you're with your son and you're going through this training and you're kind of helping your son. It's almost like a coming of age sort of training thing. We don't.
Kratos explicitly use father-son terminology. Like, I believe.
Well, but is he his actual?
Biologically, I don't know. But you have. To me, that's not as important as just the interaction that he has. Like, I almost feel like they're building up to him either one of two things. I feel one, they're building up to, again, him having his family taken away from him because he finally looks like he's in a great place. He's got his beard all full. He's happy. He's training his son. He's way more relaxed, even though he's still like, "Don't fuck up, son, or I'm gonna beat your ass," sort of mentality. You can tell. You can tell.
So...
Like, he has the rage meter pop up when the son misses that first shot.
But like, you see, he gets shot by his son in the chest with a bow and arrow, and he's just like, "It's cool, bro. Don't worry about it. Get that damn elk. Stop. You shot me, but let's go. Walk it off. Let's do this." But either one of two things. Like, one, he's gonna get his family taken away from him, or he's a pedophile, yes, or that. No, or you might actually be playing as his son when he grows up. I know it's a little bit more far-fetched, but I think it would be a good difference to see either Kratos get captured when the son gets a little bit older and maybe Kratos is a little more decrepit and can't attack, and he trains him, and you get like a time skip to where this son is older, or something to that nature, where his family gets slaughtered, and now you play as a son, and he's a new god of war, and the mantle gets passed down to him, and maybe he finds, you have this Star Wars moment where he opens a chest and finds a Chaos Blazer. I haven't played 3, so there's a lot of speculation. I don't know the ending. I played 1, beat it, loved it, but I just never beat 2 and never got into 3 because I didn't beat 2. But
but from someone that has played all of them pretty much, even the PSP ones, I loved all of the God of War. I mean, to me, these games were just to latch out, just fucking go and kill gods, and it's amazing. It's an amazing game, honestly. I get that it could be a little, one-dimensional sometimes, the game, because it's just rage after rage after rage, right? But I love it. But from someone who has, again, played and beat all of the God of Wars, all of them, I look forward for the change of pace on this one. So I'm with you guys. I think this is a great way to check out the things, because if they came out with the same God of War, which is a little bit better graphics, the God of War formula, it's starting to show a lot of rust in those, in the mechanism. Really, I mean, it's becoming to be the same thing.
Yeah, I think
Small changes.
three, it redeemed itself because you had a new system and it updated the graphics. But yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's a great thing that we're seeing a very different, a different way to play. To me, it gave me the vibe a little bit of The Last of Us with the fucking guts and a
Yeah.
little bit more of that. But I love the idea of the game.
Yeah. So, Ian, is there anything that you were looking forward to, sir?
Uh, I'm looking at the latest Quantic Dream title, which is going to be,
Oh yeah.
what is it, Beyond Human? Or no, what's it
Oh,
called?
Detroit Beyond
Yeah,
Human.
Detroit Beyond Human. I'm really excited about that one because I'm a gigantic fanboy of Quantic Dream ever since they released Nomad's Soul like over a decade ago. So I've been like looking into that one and the stuff they're planning on doing with because the game isn't going to have your conventional narrative story structure where it's like typically games will guide you through in one way possible, but the game's going to have these branching storyline and dialogue opportunities which are going to be just insane. And so I'm really excited to see where they take this one because this game, from what I can tell, has been in development since I think late 2010. At least they were doing like development stuff with the PS3, and they were like, this isn't powerful enough for what we want to do. But the thing that bugs the crap out of me about it is it's going to be a PS4 exclusive. So I'm like, fuck, gotta buy one.
Oh,
They've
all
done
the
that.
Quantic Dream stuff has pretty much been Sony exclusive to Sony consoles.
Yeah, since
except-
Heavy Rain.
Yeah, since Heavy Rain.
Yeah, since Heavy Rain. Yeah, I mean their earlier stuff wasn't. I mean, like, because
Omicron.
I loved Nomad Soul, and I fucking loved Indigo Prophecy, which were PC and
Xbox.
PC and PlayStation and Xbox at that point. Then also, but no, Omicron was also Dreamcast. But yeah, it's going back. But I'm really excited for that one, and I just can't wait for that one to come out. But then after that, I'm kind of just really, really jonesing over Battlefield 1, which is going to be. I don't know, just watching the visuals and the way they're using the Frostbite engine for that one, it's so good looking. Like, and the fact that they're implementing Zeppelins and the way they can kind of introduce that to the gameplay, it's pretty fucking sick looking. I don't think it's necessarily going to be so true to form as in how World War I was actually fought, but it's going to be a really fun, well put together game. At least in some of the footage I've seen, it's looking pretty solid. So that's what I'm mostly excited about.
Yeah, I'm also hyped for Detroit, the game, not the city. Because my inner science fiction fan is looking at this and looking at the narrative perspectives with societal views on AI and that sort of thing, and doing an AI and robotics and androids focused story that's not your standard robot uprising sort of crap, and something that because David Cage is at his best not when he's doing big action scenes, but when he's doing more narrative-focused work and focuses more on characterization. And I think this game is definitely, from what we've seen from the trailers and gameplay demos, is definitely more focused on that front. So
yeah, he definitely David Cage has been really good at taking conventional narrative structure and playing with that in the guise of a video game in the sense that he can expand it and do more things than you could through a conventional narrative. Like a film, you're really limited to that one singular story, where in the video game, he realizes that there's a chain of things that can occur that can alter the storyline. So they've released a couple of videos now that are absolutely impressive in the sense that no matter what, there's not going to be one way to play this game. There's not one right way to do it. There's going to be hundreds of potential ways for this game to play out, which I think is ultimately the most interesting thing to be done with narrative game telling or narrative storytelling in a game that I've ever seen. So it's really fun the way he does that in video games.
Yeah,
and I'm really excited to see where he takes it.
In case you guys are either watching the trailer or haven't watched it yet, that is Jennifer Lawrence. That's playing the main protagonist. Which
is it?
Yeah, it's Jennifer Lawrence. That's her likeness.
Really? Because they've had that video out. They've had the Kara character. They've had her as a development character since 2010. So really, is it Jennifer Lawrence?
I can double check my facts, but I'm fairly sure that that's Jennifer Lawrence. At least her likeness. I want to say that's her doing the voice acting as well, but I could be wrong. I'm fairly sure that's her though. I'll have to.
Yeah,
You
I
got
don't know.
me.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I remember hearing about it a while ago, and I had to look it up. I'm like, she looks really familiar. I don't know who it is.
I still need to play Beyond Two Souls. Like, I'm probably gonna pick that up this weekend because it's only like $12
Yeah.
for PS3.
I bought it. I actually still have the intention of playing that and Last
Yeah.
of Us, two really great
It's
games.
Heavy Rain, despite how weird it was still a really fun story to watch and play.
Yeah.
Because they've gotten to the point now. Quantic Dream is like, we like video games, but we really want to tell interactive stories. Is what we want to tell.
Okay.
So
No, it's actually Valerie Curry.
Hmm?
Valerie Curry is her name, at least the voice of her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I didn't know they were doing that. Because I watched a tech demo for Detroit Beyond Human like over 6 years ago. So I was like, really, they got her on board for that?
Speaking of these kinds of games, there's another game. I can't think of the name of the game for some reason. It's killing me. But you play as like an android, and I think he's like a detective. And if you watch like a hostage situation, and that game looked really interesting as well. I don't know if
That's
anybody
the
else.
game we're talking about.
Same one.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah, same one.
Oh.
yeah, because the hostage situation with the kid, that's what was featured in the trailer
Ah,
at
okay.
the Sony press conference.
Okay, all right, then yes, I'm very much looking forward to this. I didn't put two and two together for some reason because I think I had to dip out before I saw who made the game. But okay, then yes, I'm looking very much forward to that.
Speaking of cyberpunk and transhumanist stuff, Deus Ex is definitely looking even more fantastic.
Mhm.
I was also kind of pumped where one of the things they're doing for their promotional tour was the working with Open Biotics for the arm, for the 3D printed arm. I don't know if you all saw this. But they did a 3D printed arm with Open Biotics. They're the company who did the Iron Man arm for the kid that Robert Downey Jr. delivered in the Stark Industries case. They did one like that for Adam Jensen's arm, and they're releasing the 3D printing plans for it online for free. They do this for all of their bionic arms that they do. The idea being is that this is basically their goal is to make quality, not just quality, but quality, good-looking bionic arm replacements for people who are missing limbs, affordable and easily available. And they did like a demo tour with this, with like working with Razer and a few other companies to show this off. But it looks great, and that is like the coolest thing I've ever seen anyone do for a promotional tour for a game. And the game itself also looks great. I like the interesting stuff they're doing there. They're doing more with the environmental traversal and multiple ways of approaching problems, both going beyond to non-lethal for ways to approach problems in the game. So that looks great. What else is there? The Persona 5 stuff I've seen.
Persona.
Yep, looks really good. The one thing which I haven't seen anything about, which I've heard, which was announced around E3. There's two games. There's a game based, mostly licensed Call of Cthulhu role-playing game, video game, which from the trailer looks really good.
Yep. Yep.
And they've announced the next anime licensed Musou game, Warriors game, and it's Berserk.
The anime Berserk?
Ooh.
Yeah, the anime Berserk. We're getting a Berserk Warriors.
I'm with it.
Wait, like Warriors game? Do you mean like Dynasty Warriors?
Yeah, like Dynasty Warriors, like One Piece, the One Piece Warriors, the Arslan, and Gundam.
Yeah, and if there's an anime that makes sense to have something like that, is for Berserk.
Yeah, like I definitely agree for Berserk, and for actually I'd buy it for Heroic Legend of Arslan, because it's a similar sort of. It's not the same style of fantasy, but it's got that kingdom world building, big conflict thing going on.
Yeah, but when you see the both either the manga or the anime, right? You see, especially when he moves along, you see Berserk or Guts, slaying hordes of people and hordes of demons. So, I mean, for a dynasty, warrior type of game, I think this particular anime makes a lot of sense, just because of that, right? We already see that happening in the manga. So It's great.
That's what she said. Thank you, Bearded Gamer.
That's what she said.
Oh,
That's
jeez.
what he said, you're the gamer. That's what Pico said.
Yeah, speaking of slaying, though, there's one game that I'm looking forward to that I can't currently play because I don't have an Xbox One, but I saw this during last year's E3, and that's Scalebound. And I called it last year, and I'm happy about this because at the end of last year's trailer, you see, like, you know, he teleports 3 other people and their dragons, and it's like a fantasy. I call it cyber fantasy. It's not cyberpunk. It's like you mix fantasy and like cyber or future.
Yep.
And so
yeah, sort of science fantasy kind of thing.
yeah, like science fantasy, exactly. Thank you. And I was speculating that it's 4-player online co-op, and little did I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's cross-platform between PC or Windows 10 and Xbox One. And
Yeah.
I'm super pumped for this because it looks like you might be able to customize your avatar and your dragon. It definitely looks like there was different sorts of people, so I don't know what the level of customization is, but it looks like a combination of like Dragon Age-ish, or I would say Kingdoms of Amalur with like Devil May Cry, because you got the magic and you got the dragons, and I guess a little bit of layer because you can actually ride your dragon. That's really cool, but it's very Devil May Cry-ish with how it plays. It's very action-oriented. I would say a little bit of Monster Hunter because you're fighting giant monsters, so you get to play with 3 other people online and tackle these giant monsters together. They have their weak points, and it just looks like monster slaying fun. So I'm super excited about this. I can't wait for that one to come out. I don't have a Xbox One, so technically I can wait for it to come out, but yeah, it looks really good to me at least.
Speaking of games for consoles, which some of us don't own, did you watch the Nintendo stream for the Legend of Zelda gameplay demo?
I saw parts of it.
So is that
people
coming
talking
out for
about it.
the NX, or is that coming out for Wii U?
Yes, I believe is a question. Were I doing this my video thing, I'd edit to the clip of Ambassador Kosh saying yes. It is coming for both, much as with
Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess. And it looks really good. It looks like they've finally gotten back to, okay, what makes Legend of Zelda appealing is you have this big, expansive open world to explore. You get dropped into it fairly early. You have all sorts of incentive to explore and all these interesting things to find. And it's adding a few Monster Hunter-esque mechanics, like preparing food to boost certain attributes and that sort of thing. Degradable weapons. I don't know if you'll be able to repair the weapons, or if just once your weapons degrade, you have to grab a weapon off of one of the moblins that you've killed or whatever. And this would mean that weapons that don't degrade are even a bigger deal, like in terms of, like, obviously the Master Sword's not going to degrade, but like if you get a torch item or something that doesn't degrade, or that sort of thing, then a light source item in a dungeon, you get this item, it's going to be an even bigger deal than just going around with the torches that you have in the environment. If there's a magic bow in one of the dungeons or whatever that you pick up that doesn't degrade, then the bigger deal is now you have it's a more meaningful weapon upgrade than just some bow that you picked up off a moblin that you disarmed and killed.
Can I just say though that I mean, it could just be, but I wasn't 100% sold on the Zelda game. I mean, I'm a huge Zelda fan. I've beaten probably most of them, taking out the 3DO ones or whatever, but most of them I've beaten all the way. And I don't know, to me it seems that the soul of the game, of Zelda itself, was not showing in this particular demo. I don't know if it's just me, but something lacked to me that to grab me as a Zelda game.
What do you look for in a...
You're going to encounter that moment, like what a lot of people had happen when they played Zelda for the N64 for the first time was you encountered these really dumb puzzles you couldn't figure out without fully exploring your environment. And I think the fact that they're trying to implement these new game mechanics that involve the environment, I think it's going to be a really good reinvention of the Zelda series in the sense that it's going to reinvigorate how people feel about it. But then again, I haven't played Zelda since the N64, so I haven't really done much. But looking at some of the stuff they're doing, it's kind of like, yeah, I could see how that'd be interesting, because ultimately I lost interest in Zelda after Wind Waker, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, Twilight Princess I loved, but The Skyward Sword, honestly, was not very good, at least for me. But I don't know. I don't know what it was exactly. I can't pinpoint exactly what it is, but I just something was missing for me.
What do you want from a Zelda game, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm not exactly sure. Right, as I said, it's hard for me to pinpoint exactly what it is.
Mm.
But when I was watching the whole game, I didn't watch it completely. But what I was able to watch is it was just like, okay, I get what they're doing, and it looks, it looks fun and whatever. But that spark, I'm not exactly sure how to explain it. I'm trying to, but I don't know how to. There's a spark that was missing for me. I don't know what it is exactly.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they will release more to get that spark back, because I know how much you love
I love Zelda. I love it. So.
If I recall correctly, that was one of the games that helped you learn English when you read the manual.
Exactly. There you go. You remember that? Yeah.
But
the first Zelda game, I knew 0% English, nothing. So I played the game with English to Spanish dictionary, trying to understand what happened. So that's that game started me to learn English.
I love that story. I'll never forget that story. I tell people about it all the time. So yeah. So yeah, I mean, hopefully they do show something. I haven't played a Zelda since Twilight Princess, and I never finished that one. So I would say Wind Waker was my last, not favorite, but the last one I really, really enjoyed. I would say it's up there. For me, the Link to the Past will always be my favorite. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's the one that I love the most. It's one that I hold near and dear to my heart.
Have you played Link's Awakening for the Game Boy?
No, I've never played any of the handheld ones.
If you love that A Link to the Past, try that one out. It's short game. Try it out.
Yeah. Jared, did you say what you were looking forward to? And Alex, what do you guys?
I kind of went off on a bunch of things. The one thing which I guess where I came into E3 not sure about but came out sold on was Dragon Quest Builders, which is basically I've never really gotten into the building survival Minecraft-esque genre of games, and one of the things that the goals of Dragon Quest Builders developers, the guys at Enix, were trying to go for, like, okay, we're trying to get this genre to work for a Japanese audience, and they prefer a more directed experience in their game. So we're going to create a Minecraft-style game where you can go out and build whatever you want, but it gives you some direction for the world, but in the classic sort of Dragon Quest exploration. Narrative things. You have your Dragon Lord or whatever, and you have to go find a way to get to him and take him out, and along the way you're helping people and that sort of stuff. And it looks like they're doing that, and with all the classic Dragon Quest fare, you have your slimes and your Drakis and that sort of stuff. And I appreciate that gameplay style, that visual style, and creating something where if I was just to sit down and try and play Minecraft, I'd probably fiddle around with it for maybe a few hours and then kind of go and do something else. But with Dragon Quest Builders, like, okay, I now have something more to do than to just fiddle around and build whatever. Like, okay, I'm building stuff. I'm building stuff for people. That's a sort of, I guess, kind of a Harvest Moon-esque element of I'm not just building my house. I'm building other people's houses. I'm building defenses for a town from the incoming monsters and slimes and that sort of thing. I'm going into dungeons or tunneling into dungeons to get items to help me get closer to taking out the Dragon Lord and that sort of stuff. And that has a certain degree, that has a real appeal to me.
Yeah.
And also I love the Dragon Quest series in general.
You just reminded me of one game that I've heard a lot about it. I don't play it. I know it's a great game. Maybe one of you guys plays it, but I know Fallout, or at least Bethesda in general, they had a very well-received, it seems, event at E3. They had the new DLC for Fallout 4. They had the, I guess, remastered of Skyrim. So that, God, I want to play those games so bad, but I have a life to live. Ah, damn it, Bethesda. Those games look so good. So I don't know. I don't. Well, let me know what you guys think about that game as well.
You will, you will sleep enough when you're dead. So just go ahead and fucking play.
Yeah.
Skyrim Remastered looks great. I am pumped by the fact that this is bringing mod support for Skyrim to consoles. I doubt we'll get anything quite as spectacular as the Macho Man Dragons.
Ooh, yeah.
But still, I appreciate what that does, and the graphical remaster that we see looks really good. I also was thought it was pretty cool during the press conference where opening up with Quake Champions. I mean, we got Doom. Quake is clearly the next step. And Quake's strongest point has been deathmatch, and this appears to be a very deathmatch-focused game. It has a certain degree of Overwatch-esque character stuff that appears to be going on, but it clears to be it's going to be less necessarily team objective-based gameplay and more deathmatch. I mean, certainly Quake had other gameplay modes like Capture the Flag and that sort of thing, and like Team Fortress was born out of a Quake mod. But I also appreciate that this is definitely that we have a straight-up deathmatch, Quake-style, super fast, circle strafing, rocket jumping, old-school, guns blazing, deathmatch-style action game.
Right. Yeah. You know what? One more game that I do believe I'm going to buy when it comes out is, and I talked about it last week, but they showed some more gameplay and they showed some more footage, which is Injustice. I know Tyler hates this game, so I've got to talk about it even more. But Injustice 2 looks so badass. I mean, you have Atrocitus in there with Dexstar, who actually does stuff in there. And if you guys don't know, that's one of the Red Lanterns, and he has like a little cute kitty that like vomits blood as well, and he actually is a part of his attack. I guess his move list. You have Gorilla Grodd, and they still have a bunch more characters announced. I think they're going to have close to 30 characters, if not more. So they're still going to release more stuff, but they had gameplay footage. It looks amazing. A lot of the characters that were in it originally, like Batman and Superman, their moves are very similar, according to a lot of people that have gotten their hands on this build of the game. It will update over time, but I'm really excited for this game. I love the first one. I love the story of it. This is probably my favorite storyline of any fighting game I have ever played. Evil Superman is great to me. I hate Superman, but Evil Superman is really cool to me. So I love the storyline. I can't wait to see what they do with it. DC, I know they were definitely holding back the reins on the first one with NetherRealm Studios because it's NetherRealm Studios. They make mature-rated games, but you can obviously see with Atrocitus alone that they really let them have a little bit more free reign with the characters. I bet you Atrocitus was one of the ones that they wanted to have in their first one, because it just seems like a Mortal Kombat character. Like, I could see Atrocitus being in Mortal Kombat. So I think this one's going to be even better. We're going to have more brutal moves. It's not going to be 100% like bloodbath, but you have one dude vomiting blood. So I think, or plasma, whatever you want to call it, but it's going to be a great game, and I can't wait for it to come out.
One last thing. This isn't exactly a game that was featured at E3, but it was a game that was announced just around E3, and which had me absolutely squealing. I'm an anime fan. I'm a mecha fan, and I'm an RPG fan, particularly strategy RPGs. And there's this game franchise that combines those all together. When I did my extra live stream, I streamed a bunch of one of the SNES games in that series, and that game is Super Robot Wars. We've gotten some of the spin-off games in the series. They're called the original generation titles, which have robots modeled after robots from classic anime series, but didn't have what makes the Super Robot series famous is all these robots from all these anime series teaming up and fighting various bad guys. You have Gundam and Mazinger Z teaming up to fight Robeasts. You have Golion, aka Lion Voltron, teaming up with the Evangelion units and the Ideon and all this sort of stuff. And
they have Zoids?
They have had some Zoid, but it's a little tricky because of licensing stuff. But I believe they have had some Zoid stuff, though the Zoids have their own games, just to a certain degree. But what has prevented these games in the past from coming to the United States is that there's this big licensing mess in anime fandom related to one of the mega franchises that's become a staple since the 80s, and that is the Macross franchise. And so with the latest title, it has dropped the Macross franchise from the game series, and because of this, it is getting a Southeast Asian English translated release, much as like what Gundam Breaker 3 got. And this is a PS4 and Vita game, which means that's on region unlocked systems. So it's in English, fully English translated, not English voice, but fully English translated, and available for import on basically to the U.S. audience. So it's the first time you can play a legally translated version of a Super Robot Wars game, as opposed to either having to bootleg it or play it on a device that, like the Retron 5, where it lets you use a translated ROM version of an older version of the game. So I am utterly pumped by this. I am glad to have a way to play some of the latest Super Robot Wars games, one of the latest Super Robot Wars games, legally in English, as opposed to going through any emulation hoops or having to hope that somebody fan translates the game.
Yeah. So, were there any honorable mentions for any of you guys before we unveil who we thought won E3 this year?
Microsoft is my honorable mention for reasons that we'll probably get into with the who won and who lost.
Okay. Any games for you guys? I've got like a list of games that I kind of want to at least mention, but I want to see what you guys thought before I hopped into that. 'Cause I'm just gonna. I got
nothing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna shotgun some of these. I got a list of just a lot of the games that I wanted to at least talk about, but don't have time for today. But Watch Dogs 1 looks amazing so far.
I mean,
Gears
Watch Dogs
War,
2?
Watch Dogs 2, yes, thank you. Watch Dogs 2, Gears of War 4, Final Fantasy 15 I'm really looking forward to. I think that might be my RPG for probably next year. We'll pick it up next year, but I'm really looking forward to that one. Dishonored 2, I'm looking forward to. Scalebound I already mentioned. And then I'm looking at I can't say without laughing. South Park, The Fractured But Whole. I'm really looking forward to that one. And then the last one is Horizon Zero Dawn. We've talked about it multiple times, but you guys can check out the trailer. A lot of these games I'm really looking forward to. And Titanfall 2, I can wait for that. I really like the first one, but...
You know what's sad, though? You know what's sad, David? It's that if you look at your list, 90% of that is sequels.
Yeah.
You know, we have Horizon and we have, you know, the industry as a whole, though, it seems to me that we are a sequel right now, in a sequel stew right
Almost
now.
like a sequelitis?
Yeah. I mean, I'm so looking forward to the time again where what we have is mostly new IPs rather than just sequels after sequels and after sequels.
Well,
yeah.
we did get some new IPs that were definitely not just beyond not just with Horizon Zero Dawn, but beyond Two Souls. We have Detroit, which looks like an amazing game. We have finally a release date for The Last Guardian.
But even those two are, you know, Detroit. It's even though it's a new IP, but it's gonna be very similar as we had with Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, which are very similar type of games. This is gonna be very similar.
While I agree, it's gonna be hard.
Last Guardian is gonna be very similar to Ico and you know, Shadow of the Colossus, as they were similar to each other.
Well, to be fair, that is less like I compare that less to being like Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Last Crusade, where it's sequel, or the Bond series with constantly ongoing sequels, and more common directorial artistic similarities. It's more like less like you're going into a Bond movie knowing what the common Bond formula is, and more I'm going to see a Spielberg movie, or I'm going to see the director's name just fell out of my head. The guy who did Thin Red Line and
I understanding what you're saying. Like Tarantino, you look at it, it's very distinctive type of movie.
You're getting the art. It's more a auteur situation where you have a very auteur team or auteur director, game developer, and so while yes, there can be certain things you're going to come to expect, it's also because he's an auteur and he has his style and he has his way of expressing his things. You know, when you go to a David Lynch movie, you're going to get mind screwed. When you go to a Lars von Trier film, you're going to get disturbed. That sort of thing. And so when you go to a David Cage game, you're going to get a narrative-focused game which does its action things very differently and goes in some very interesting narrative and visual directions. Maybe he may not stick the landing for the concepts that he wants to execute, but he'll certainly try. They'll certainly do a very ambitious move when he comes off that balance beam or what have you.
Yeah, and you know you're gonna have plot holes in the size of Manhattan.
Yeah,
right.
He's going to do some expressive gymnastics. He's going to do like a triple somersault and land right on his head. But it's going to be impressive before he lands on his head.
No one ever said David Cage was a good writer. He's just a fun writer. It's a big difference.
It is. Yeah, I agree with that statement.
I think you have been spoiled by your favorite RPG. Is what's going on here.
Which one are you talking about?
You know the one.
Have you played it already or no?
No, not yet. I'm gonna stream it.
All right.
But I think that's what's going on here.
When are you gonna stream? I'm gonna be watching that stream.
I want to beat a few games first, but I was actually just talking about. I streamed Deus Ex today, as a matter of fact. But I do want to play this game, and I want to start streaming on Thursdays before the podcast.
Undertale, guys, if you don't know which one.
Yep, Undertale. Very, very. I have heard nothing but great things from this game.
Oh, I just realized what I forgot to mention in terms of the games which really impressed me. And then the name fell in my head. The Orwellian game from the Microsoft press conference, the Smile or whatever, with the Take Your Joy one, where the one where the people are hitting the pin. Just look this up.
Orwellian game, eh?
I don't remember that. What? I don't know. I'm not sure. I have not.
The Happy Few.
Oh, okay.
I don't find the trailer for this.
Yeah, I'll post that in the chat as well. They had a BioShock feel to it.
Yes, it did, and it looks really impressive and screwed up in a wonderful, wonderful way. Okay, I found a page which I believe has it. I'm going to post this in our Hangouts chat, and you can post it in the main chat. That game looks amazing and screwed up in a Orwellian 1984 British dystopian kind of way.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see where they go with that.
Yeah, it definitely had
It did the BioShock vibe because of the retro feel and the sort of forced, colorful cheerfulness of the whole thing, which worked really well. And so, but we gotta get to the winners and losers.
Yeah. So we'll go around. Well, I'll go from right to left on my screen here, and I'll go last. But Ian. At least from what you saw from E3, who do you think was the winner?
I think the biggest buzz, at least for the communities I'm associated with, is going to be Battlefield 1. Will be the biggest slash in the E3 community. But outside of that, I'm just really excited for the next Quantic Dream game.
Not Sniper Elite 4?
You know, Sniper Elite 4 is one of those games where, like, it's fun for a minute, and then everyone forgets about it.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, like, it's a good, well put together game, but the Sniper Elite games have never really drawn my attention longer than a couple of hours, and then I just literally forget they exist. So, but I mean, like, the fact that DICE and EA are willing to take a risk and bring the Battlefield series back to its historical roots is really impressive to me, and I'm actually really hoping this pays off for them in the long run, because I'm really tired of this modern warfare bullshit where they've run out of ideas in those terms, and like the games just really lack in any type of story composition or even creative ideas on how the military units should operate, and it just annoys me. So for them to go back and do something a little more classical, which has more interesting historical significance, is a game I want to play and something I want to support. So that's where I'm going to go with that.
Sounds good to me. And I'm actually looking forward to that game. I hope they have some co-op campaign, online co-op campaign. Maybe
They're
not
probably
optional,
gonna.
but
I mean, like based on the stuff I've seen for the online play and the fact that they brought in Zeppelins and the way they're going to be doing that, it looks absolutely astounding. Like just the way the whole game, the game matches I've seen come together, and like, I'm just so excited to see those and to play those. It just looks so much fun.
yeah. What about you, Jared?
Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
You joke. I will say that this is one of the turnarounds I had. I'll save it until it comes to me.
Yeah.
But I had a little bit of a turnaround on that from my.
I'll agree with that.
Advanced fish physics. They swim away. Just watch. It's going to be great.
Well, really, Jared, what are you looking forward to?
Really, it's like there's just tons and tons and tons of games that were announced that were just phenomenal, and really it comes down to me personally, Elder Scrolls Skyrim Special Edition for the PS4.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but with as much time as I put into Skyrim, that one's one of the best. And to play it on updated graphics, fantastic.
Fair enough.
And also King of Fighters 14?
Ooh, yeah.
PS4 exclusive as well. It was announced, so even better.
Yeah, I actually got to get my hands on that during Combo Breaker, and it was like a early build of the game, like an arcade build of it, but it was really good. I'm not great at King of Fighters, but it was pretty cool. I enjoyed what I played. All the characters weren't on there, but it's gonna be a good game. I think people were hating on it at first, but it's getting really polished.
And the other thing I must say is the list of Star Wars games that were announced.
Yep, I was actually going to talk about that as well. Mm-hmm.
Or talked about. They all of them looked phenomenal and looked amazing. So, and of course you have I'm a big zombie fan, so a lot of big zombie games coming out there.
Mm-hmm.
Dead or Alive 4, Killing Floor 2, things like that. So it was pretty good. I know they also announced Yakuza 0. Huh?
Yeah,
Alex.
yeah. I saw that trailer. It looks interesting. We'll see. There's some definite narrative potential there.
Mm-hmm. And it just really, there was a lot of games that looked really good. So it was a good year. It was a good year for games. This year was phenomenal for games. They really pushed games this year compared to last year, which was more
tech.
Oh, look at our VR, look at our stuff, look at this, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
This was more, here's the games we have, here's what's coming. Like the PlayStation conference, that's the most games I've ever seen during a conference.
It was like all games.
It was all games.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was very much a focus on last year we talked about tech. Here's what people are doing with that tech to make that tech actually interesting and something you should care about.
Yeah. Yeah. And Chris, based off of this, what we talked about, is there anything that really caught your attention that you're looking forward to, or at least want to know more about? You there? He's dead, Jim. He's dead. Also, your mic's muted, so I don't know if you're still there, but if not, we'll go back around to him. Antonio, what are you looking forward to, or what do you think won?
Well, I think it's clear that Sony won this this E3 by far. As you guys were saying, it was all games, and all great games, and the presentation of them with the live orchestra, and it was just, it was just fucking perfection to me. I don't know, it was really, really, really good. And as Jared said, I actually, as you, Alexander, said as well, one of the big turnarounds for me was that gameplay video of Call of Duty Infinite War 100 or whatever the name of the game is. It actually, I mean, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh fuck. But with this last gameplay video, it was like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. I mean, I'm still looking forward to mostly for Battlefield 1, but you know, I don't think it's. I think it's getting a lot of hate that I'm not sure it exactly deserves, if you know what I mean. That said, though, it's funny how we've come around this circle, right? Where at some point we were, you know, already like full of games, and we didn't want more World War games, right? We were just like, fuck, another World War II game. Oh my fucking god, right? And then it started to go modern. And now it's like another fucking modern shooter. We don't want that. We go back to World War. Well, this time it's World War One, but it's still World War, right? And now it's like fresh again, which is kind of funny to me how things come around.
Yeah, Call of Duty's gone the opposite, where they're in the future. So
Yeah,
you have the
but
future and the past.
You know they're going back to some World War. You know it. I mean,
They're gonna have to.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna have to.
I bet you. Like a year from now, next E3, we're gonna see that, and we're gonna go back and replay this video, and have a meta moment where we talked about all that, and we called it. Yeah.
Oh.
So, but one of the things that I'm disappointed about is the lack of hardware. In a sense that we knew already it was confirmed the PS Neo, the PS4 Neo.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Xbox Scorpion, and everything like that, but no hardware. Not even a clue. Well, kind of a clue, but it's mostly rumors, right? No price points, no release dates. Well, release date 2017 is not a release date. You know, it's just, I don't know. To me, that's the disappointing part of it. But I prefer to have games as we had it than hardware. So, like from other, you know, most of the things games is just. I think it was a great E3 overall. Again, very few things were disappointments, but.
Speaking of hardware, Nintendo, no NX.
Yeah, exactly.
What's up with
So
that? I was about to say.
that's the other thing I was gonna say. You know, no PS4 Neo, no freaking Xbox Scorpion, and no NX.
Like, not even a mention. Like, you look at all the release dates for the Nintendo games, and it says Wii U and NX underneath it, like for what consoles are coming out for, but they didn't even mention. Now, I got an email stating that they're going to release more information come this fall about the NX. So whatever event that one is during
Tokyo
October.
Game Show or whatever?
Tokyo Game Show, yeah.
It's either TGS or it's going to be whatever the European one is.
Yeah. In all fairness, though, they did say that this E3 is going to be all Zelda, pretty much. They did say that there was not going to be any mention of the NX and whatever. It's still disappointing.
But are we at the point where we're tired of Zelda?
No.
Anyone?
Not really.
No.
Not necessarily, no. Again, to me, it didn't spark, didn't light that spark of Zelda this demo. But I don't think we are tired of Zelda. No. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Look at how many Zelda games have come out in the last bit, like for every console almost. I mean, it seems like we're missing some of the other great titles.
I mean, I think they can branch off and do other things.
Nintendo console, you mean?
But
yeah, that's what I meant. Of course, Zelda's not on other consoles, you dork.
No.
You get like one
Zelda. Just go to your corner.
Yeah, we get like 1 to 2 Zelda games per home console.
Okay, and how many F-Zero games?
I'm not saying they shouldn't make other IPs. I'm just saying that Nintendo is not saturating us with Zelda games. Maybe handheld ones, but console, no. I don't think so. I'm not saying they shouldn't work on other IPs. I would like to see another F-Zero. I would like to see. I mean, it's not Nintendo, but another Rayman. That's. I would
like to see more Zelda. That's it.
Yeah, and I think I have confidence in this game based off of what I've heard and what I've seen so far. I think it'll do well. I think it's what Zelda needs. It has grown up a little bit, to kind of quote my friend. There's a lot of new features. The world's a lot bigger. I think this game isn't what we expected from a Zelda game, but I think if we wait and see more information, it might actually do really well.
Hey, is my mic working?
Yes,
it's working now.
Yeah. Cool, all right, there we go. I have to go back 1 second and talk about something Call of Duty related.
Yeah.
If the Call of Duty series was to go back and remake Stalingrad or Omaha Beach with the high-def graphics we have now, I would write them a blank check, because that would be absolutely insane and fun to play and watch. That's just my thought on it.
No,
but they're not gonna.
But you know it's happening though, right? I mean, you know that it's going back to World War.
Oh yeah, because those were ultimately better games and more entertaining. Because I mean, like, is there anything memorable out of the latest Call of Duty games other than like jetpacks and dumbass shit where you can like run along walls? That's not a good first-person shooter dynamic. It's just
somebody just sounds
forgettable.
jealous.
Jealous?
Mad because your army can't run across along walls?
You know, I'm jealous by the fact that we're not going to get those fucking awesome marching robot dogs for like another 10 years. Because I'm tired of carrying my shit in a ruck march, man. I'm tired of hauling 50, 70 pounds worth of gear on my back. I want that stupid robot dog to carry it for me.
In all fairness, though, Call of Duty 4, the first Modern Warfare, and the second one, or Black Ops, or whatever it was, the next one, did bring and did created this multiplayer shooter. Those made the fundamentals that we have now for multiplayer shooters. So it's not all that bad that we went modern at some point. Yeah, right now it's fucking saturated, and they're just rehashing the same things over and over.
Well, yeah, I'll admit I'm a little biased when it comes to the original Call of Duty, because I used to play competitively for Call of Duty 1, which was a really solid, like, competitive shooter based on the way it was put together for Search and Destroy and stuff like that. But the later ones just never captivated me at the same level the older ones did. That's just me.
Before we get too far to rail, I just realized Chris is back. So if he wants to, you want to pop our question to him for his E3 picks.
Good point. You back, Chris?
You lied, Alex. You lied.
He's in the chat. He's in the chat, but he's not in this chat right now.
Oh
so.
Yeah, something to talk about that's Unity engine based was ironically like the same engine he's using is the one they use. Well, not ironically at all, actually. Never mind. Forget that phrase. But
Ironic.
But when you think about it,
ironically, less more sets.
Yeah, ironically, there's nothing ironic about it at all. It's a game engine that they used to make games with. Go figure. There's another really fun one that I'm actually kind of excited for. It's called the Yandere Simulator, which the developer of that one's been pushing pretty hard and making a really good product that's actually a really well thought out. I would say more advanced version of Hitman if Hitman was a high school girl trying to score with her boyfriend. So, but it's fantastic.
Yeah. I guess as far as for me, we're winners and losers. The fastest turnaround for me from being sold on a console to being unsold on a console was definitely Microsoft. In terms of we're seeing the Xbox One Slim, like, hey, yeah, it's a smaller console. It'll fit in with my Entertainment Center stuff. It's much less expensive. It's got the built-in 4K and all this other stuff. And then hearing about Project Scorpio and no release date and no price point, and they basically went to, I'm going to hold off on the purchase until I hear more about Scorpio and price point and that sort of stuff. Which, after my brain went through the decision process, and then went, hey, this is the thing that killed Commodore. It killed Commodore and Osborne. Way back in the day. Not to say this will kill Microsoft, but it is definitely a repeated error in the computer industry that has happened.
Technically, Gateway killed Commodore, but yeah, you can go on.
Well, Gateway killed Amiga, but anyway.
Well, yeah, Amiga was Commodore, but
yeah,
I get where you're going with it, but I'm like, this is debatable.
Well, Jack Tramiel era Commodore. But that was a. But I had that moment of realization in terms of with the situation with Xbox. But other than that, the clear winner for me really was Sony. They announced a whole bunch of really strong exclusive games. In addition to multi-party having a good multi-party lineup as well. They had a really strong presentation for their material, very stylish. I really enjoyed having the big orchestra and the live scoring of their press conference, and the fact that I listened to our local classical music station a bunch meant that whenever that I recognized all of the interstitial pieces of classical music when they weren't using game-specific stuff. They had the Dies Irae from Mozart's Requiem. They had the New World Symphony by the composer's name just out of my head. All sorts of great stuff. Really, and I really appreciate that as someone who enjoys classical music. In fact, I've already bought tickets for when they do the Symphony of the Goddesses in Portland in September, which is the live Zelda orchestral concert.
I went to that here in Guadalajara. It's great.
Yeah, so I already got tickets to that, and so I'm really looking forward. So I appreciate orchestral music, and I'm glad. And so those are great from a presentation standpoint. I just liked everything else. Not saying the other press conferences weren't strong. Bethesda had a very good press conference, and their games lineup was very good. Square Enix's games lineup was very solid. The games lineup from Atlas looks good, but the whole total package that Sony did for the presentation, from the games themselves and the presentation thereof, was excellent. And I'm glad that it makes me, as someone who owns a Sony console, I'm like, owns a PS4, like, okay, I have some really good titles to look forward to over the next year or two. There's definitely be some really fun games to play, and I'm looking forward to playing them.
Yeah.
Like the new Street Fighter V Special Edition. Yeah.
now with that 100% more story mode. No, not 100% more story mode, because 100% of nothing is still nothing.
Aw, haters. So I'll give Chris one more second to see if he'll pop in. I'll give him a couple seconds, and then I'll go ahead and share my thoughts. Going once, twice? No? Okay. So
no, Chris.
My answer is going to sound a little bit cheesy, but I definitely think it holds true. But I think this year the gamers won the whole thing, because you have all these different games that came out. You have Microsoft really pushing the cross-platform between PC and Xbox One. So you have games like Gears of War and Scalebound, and I believe Forza Horizon 3. All these games coming out, and to me that's huge. I love playing with my friends, and I think ever since I've been little, the idea that because I'm on a certain platform I can't play with my friends is ridiculous. And they've really been pushing that, and I don't think that was stressed enough, either in this conversation or just in general. I don't hear enough people celebrating it. That's a great win for gamers all around. I know they're working between Xbox One and PS4, so maybe next year's E3 we might see some more of that, or maybe sometime in between. I think that was awesome. I believe the best presentation was Sony's by far. Like Alex said, I love the orchestral presentation. Overall, the presentation just flowed the best. The games interested me the most, but there was so many cool things about it. And one of the games I'm really looking forward to is the X-Wing Commander, or X-Wing Star Wars Battlefront X-Wing VR thing. So you get to play as like sort of the Rogue Squadron sort of thing with VR. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be badass. I hope the technology is there.
Makes me really want a new X-Wing game, particularly since we're just having the GOG sale that's wrapping up, and the whole X-Wing franchise is one of the things they have on sale. It's like just having the GOG sale going on and looking at the Battlefront X-Wing mission demo. I'm like, if we could have a whole game of this, particularly since space sims are coming back in with Elite. And they're even getting more, and even stuff like Elite is getting more VR involved with VR built in. It's like, all right, we've seen what Elite can do. Let's take that and let's put that in X-Wings and B-Wings and A-Wings and all those awesome Star Wars fighters, and let us fly those. Maybe, please?
Yeah. So I think VR is right on the cusp of being like awesome. I can't wait. I think we're a few years away from having some great titles. We already have a few cool ones, but yeah, there were so many really cool games. All of them I'm probably not going to play, but there was a wide variety of games, and it was a lot of games. It wasn't a lot of BS, and Nintendo
Final
didn't.
Fantasy one though was fucking looked like garbage.
Oh, you're not excited for Final Fantasy?
Not the VR one, no.
The VR.
bit did not look great.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't really care about that
Their
one.
cleavage. I saw that video online.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There was an interesting bit about that on the Giant Bomb, their late night stream for day one. We were talking about this with the 8-4 Play guys, and it's certainly a cultural thing that happens in Japanese television.
Yeah,
where like
we
you'll
hear
have
you.
their, you're
Okay,
like,
I've been here for not sure why the settings went off.
okay, all right. Well, we better get back to you and give you your chance to give your E3 winner and or loser.
Okay.
Yeah. So what did you think?
I was looking forward to more Final Fantasy VII. I've heard that was on there. I just haven't looked it up yet. And I heard Destiny had Overwatch had some pretty nice things. I just looked up the Resident Evil 7 that you guys were talking about. That looks pretty good. I was hoping for a little bit more VR though. At the moment, I haven't actually seen any. Did my thing just go back out?
You're still on. You're still good.
Okay. At the moment, I was hoping for a lot more VR though. That's kind of what I thought this year was going to be. Kind of like the time for the VR, as they kind of promised us.
Well, I don't know. VR is going to run into some interesting stuff here in the sense that apparently Facebook has been going around and buying up a lot of the native VR developers.
Yes.
So there's going to be a pretty aggressive bottleneck where it's going to be, because the Vive right now is outselling the Oculus.
Really?
So yeah, because the Vive is doing really well because it's has the controllers and all that stuff already pre-included, and Valve is kind of backing it up. So the Vive is just doing better. And so Facebook is countering that by buying up the developers. So they're going to try and make it more exclusive for the Oculus. So this is going to be a really tight match here to see where it goes. But I don't know. It'll be really fun, and ultimately this competition will only benefit consumers because it'll make the VR stuff more. It'll make it less expensive, and ultimately the games themselves will probably be better. But it's not necessarily fair that Facebook is trying to make it more exclusive to them. But we'll see where it goes.
I agree.
Speaking of VR and Oculus, I didn't mention this. Did you all see John Carmack at the Microsoft press conference for the Minecraft VR demo? That was kind of awesome, in a way. Nice seeing John Carmack again.
Well, it'd be nice. I didn't even know he went or was there.
He was part of the stage demo.
Cool.
Because Carmack is the chief technology officer for Oculus.
Really?
Actually?
John Carmack?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, he's no longer at id. He when the VR stuff getting big, because Carmack's a big tech guy.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Big tech and engine guy. He jumped on board with that, and so it was really kind of cool when they did when they're doing their VR demo for the Microsoft press conference, because Microsoft owns Minecraft, and talking about Oculus integration with Minecraft. That they then brought John Carmack out and had him in the Oculus headset for their game demo.
That'd be intriguing. I mean, like, man, I would love if like the old school Doom guys got together, even with John Romero, and put together like the ultimate first-person shooter for VR. That'd be fantastic. But that's probably not going to happen.
No.
I want to see more movie directors and game directors combining forces and making babies. That's what I want. That's
Kojima and
Del Toro?
Kojima and Del Toro coming back together. That would be pretty interesting.
They didn't talk about him at E3, but I'm pretty sure he has his hand in this movie because they met at the summit. I can't remember what kind of summit it was called, but they met and confirmed they're going to work on some stuff. So I think it's safe to at least speculate that he has a hand in this game.
I hope so. Fingers
crossed.
I'd like to see something about that collaboration.
Yeah, I think that's a great note to end it on, or at least as good as any. I want to thank all you guys, and I will have everyone go down the line and let us know where you can find them. And we'll start with Alex, unless anyone has any other closing statements you want to add beforehand.
No, I stand by my comment I wrote over there.
I want to make things a little simpler for finding my stuff and just give my WordPress blog, because I post all my videos on there.
Cool.
In addition to my YouTube channel, but also, that's count0or.wordpress.com, rather than having to deal with the clunky, more involved, and longer YouTube naming convention, and then from there you can find my YouTube videos and then go from there and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and everything will be awesome. Latest episode is Nintendo Power Retrospectives Part 57? Or 57? No, 56. I'm working on 57 right now. And next week will be my full E3 thoughts, and after that will be Record of Lotus War.
Love that. Love Record of Lotus Wars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that anime.
So,
All right, Antonio.
I like turtles.
I like turtles.
I'm up.
Yeah, you're up.
Right, so you can find me on YouTube at Gokado Retro Reviews, Gokado's Gokado. Twitter at yeah, you can find me there as
How do you spell that?
Spell that Twitter
How do you
handle.
spell that?
It's COFF of course.
AC Flem.
You can find me on Twitter at Gokadito, GOKIKADITO. Sorry, I can't even spell now. And of course at the Console Explosion. You can find all these fine children there.
All right. And Ian, where can they find you?
You can find me at my YouTube channel, which is Historic Nerd, or you can find me on my website, which is www.historicnerd.com. Or if you want to contact me directly, you can talk to me on either my Facebook channel or my Facebook page, which is Historic Nerd, or talk to me on Twitter, which is at historicalnerd.com. Or as always, you can find me on theconsoleexplosion.com.
Boom.
Great.
Jared, any closing notes from you, sir?
Yes. Now, where to start? You can find me digging in the trash cans behind GameStop, of course.
As always.
As always. No, I'm joking. No, it's pretty much go check out theconsoleexplosion.com, go check our YouTube, go check out our Twitch. We have live streamers every day, pretty much from 9 p.m. Eastern, all the time. Check them out. Great group of people. Also, check out our videos that we have on YouTube. Check out our Facebook. Check out our Twitter. Everything's located underneath. And yes, I'll stop choking on the cock, otherwise known as Street Fighter V.
Or the VR cock simulator on the Oculus
Yeah,
Rift.
the VR cock simulator, that's pretty much what Capcom's going to come out with, is the first person. Oh wait, they already did that. First person fighting, because they suck.
Oh,
Fuck
God.
Capcom. Fuck Kojima. Or not
Kojima. What did Kojima do? God.
Konami.
Konami.
Whatever. They're all the same. Too many Ks. But nonetheless, Xplosion.com.
Boom. And Chris, where can they find you?
Okay, first I want to thank you for having me here. It was a great time.
Oh yeah.
You can find us at our website, ascensionx.net, or there's a link to our Facebook page that I posted. We're probably the most active right there. And again, thank you. It was a great time.
Yeah, I thank you for joining us, and definitely check out his website. If you guys are interested in it, go ahead and check out his Indiegogo and help this guy reach his goal. He's been working on it for a long time, and he definitely deserves to have some help with this to make this the best that it can be. We help support the little guys. You know, the big guys already got the money, so we need to help the little guys grow. So check that out. As always, I'm the Philosopher. You can find me on Facebook.com/Philosopher, YouTube and Twitter at The Philosopher. Of course, always on the Console Explosion, where you can find me and all these guys in the links below, or just theconsoleexplosion.com. So thank you guys so much. If you're watching the live stream, definitely hit that like button for us to let us know that you enjoyed this content. If you're watching on YouTube, do the same thing and let us know what you guys were looking forward to. If you were disappointed, what you thought of E3, who won, and why. And if you want to see more updates on our podcast or our other shows that we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and you will get updates on all our shows. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.